This movie, I'm feeling a little off today, just so you know. Good morning, Willie Waffle.
Well, good morning. What do you mean off?
I don't know. Yesterday it was almost, it was 50-some-odd degrees. It still felt cool, but, the snow is going away. And then we wake up today and there's snow.
Oh, dear God. You got snow?
Yeah. I mean, higher elevations have a nice white blanket. Down here, it's now snow and rain and all that. But anyway, so I'm feeling a little off, and I saw this movie, The Zookeeper's Wife, and it's in very fine print. I wish you could enlarge the emails that you sent me. But it says this, true story of how the Warsaw Zookeeper, so Zookeeper, I'm immediately thinking animals. The true story of how the Warsaw Zookeeper and his wife tried to protect Jaws when the Nazis invaded.
Oh, did I have a typo?
No, it's in such fine print. I read Jaws and not Jews.
Oh, okay.
And I put because you put Zookeeper together with I'm thinking animals, and it turned out to be there. So how do the Zookeepers get to a point where they're protecting the Jewish population during the Nazi crimes in Nazi Germany?
Well, yeah, it's 1939 and it's
Poland,
and the Nazis are invading. And so, they have at the zoo a vast underground network. They have, all these rooms and cages, and when people need to hide, it's a good place to hide with secret passages out when needed. And that's what you see here in the movie. You see how, these two zookeepers, one played by Jessica Chastain, the other one played by a guy who we'll never see again. And it's a decent movie. I think it's a familiar movie, but I think only because these stories are so sadly repeated all over Europe during World War II. People going out of their way to try to protect their fellow man and woman and child when just horror is raining down. Now, and so that part is very dramatic.
Were they? Were these were not? These were Polish citizens that owned that owned the zoo. And
they ran the zoo,
the Zookeepers, so they ran the zoo. But you're right, you hear all of these different stories. Is this a true story?
Yeah, it's a true story.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it happened, and that's the amazing thing. I always go back to so many stories. I mean, people say, how many more World War II stories can we get? Well, there's millions of them that we just don't know yet, and every time we get one, it just blows you away at the absolute drama of the situation.
What are you giving this one?
I'll go 2.5 waffles. I think, like I said, it's a little familiar. I think Jessica Chastain could maybe up it a little bit. She's kind of not held back, not laid back, but she tries to be very subtle with the part, and maybe she needs to go a little bit Meryl Streep on it.
All right. What's interesting too is that people in Germany and Italy and Poland, all throughout the post-war, received a great deal of criticism after the war, after World War II, because they didn't stand up, right? You didn't stand up, and you didn't stop these horrific acts that were going on. But in reality, there were people that were standing up. There were people that were resisting. But you just couldn't do it publicly and visibly. Otherwise, you'd be dead or in a concentration camp.
Right, and that's the ultimate, kind of that morality question. How far will you go to stand up for yourself? What are you willing to do? And you're right. I mean, and you know what? You could have stood up. They could have thrown you in a concentration camp.
Yeah. And then you're not there to save anybody. So ultimately, okay, Boss Baby. Is it? I saw the preview. Not overly interested. Is this worth it?
Oh, I think it's worth it. Come on.
All right.
This is Alec Baldwin being a pompous, arrogant corporate titan. I mean, something he's very good at.
He's good at himself. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, the story is that, he is the voice of the Boss Baby. The Boss Baby is undercover at a house where two of the parents work for a company called Puppy Co., and he needs to stop Puppy Co. because they have an evil plot to steal all the love in the world from babies and make sure puppies become number one.
This is all animated, yeah.
Yeah, it's all animated, and it's a wildly imaginative story. I mean, they really do come up with an explanation for why this story is happening, which I thought was pretty novel. I just think that Alec Baldwin is hilarious. I think it moves along at a pretty good pace. The only problem they have is it really does kind of slow down towards the end because they're trying to make it all sickly, sweet, and icky. That all of the two boys who didn't get along, all of a sudden they're bonding now. Yeah, okay, whatever.
Did you see the story on the? What are you giving that one again?
I'll go 3 waffles.
3
Oh,
waffles.
wow.
All right. Well, one you might want to take a look at. And then
It's a subtle approach there, Willie. We need to up it a little bit.
that, by the way, is Boss Baby, 3 waffles, which is not something Willie divvies out generously these days. Okay. Did you see one of the movies you featured last week was Power Rangers, and just in time for publicity for this movie, one of the original Power Rangers is charged with, like, I don't know, attempted murder or something? I mean,
I think he, like, murdered his roommate or something.
Yeah, one of the original Power Rangers. He was the yellow one, I think. I don't know. But, talk about publicity for a movie, and, of course, this is all real life.
Yeah, and this is a case that's been going on for a few years.
Yeah.
So the timing just didn't work out very well. Although I think people who are already going to go see the Power Rangers weren't going to be deterred by something like that.
That is correct. And finally, the movie Ghost in the Shell. This is Scarlett Johansson. What do you think?
Yeah, not very good. It's a movie that's just all about the CGI and all about the fight scenes, and eventually they come up with a plot. I mean, she plays this soldier who was basically created in her life. She was a victim of a terrorist attack. They took her brain, they put it into this robot, and now she fights the terrorists. Except maybe people have been lying to her about her past the whole time. Yeah, they don't really get to that part until towards the end. The rest of it's just, hey, here's a fight scene. Oh, here's a chase scene. Oh, look at this cool CGI. That's nice. But it just isn't working. It drags and drags and drags.
What are you giving it?
We'll go 1.5 waffles.
Okay, there you go. It's wafflemovies.com. Before you go to the movies, check out Willie's website and see if you're wasting your time. Manaski.
The Power Ranger, I can't believe this.
Yeah.
Ricardo Medina Jr., who's 38 now, stabbed his roommate with a sword, interestingly, because they got in a fight over Medina's girlfriend.
It's almost like the Power Ranger mentality stuck around. It's like he can't get a job anymore. He's going to remain a Power Ranger.
And if anyone was into the show, he was the red Power Ranger. His jumpsuit is yellow.
Willie, I wanted to tell you that there's a series we're watching right now. His jumpsuit is yellow. There's a series we're watching about the making of the movie Baby. Which one was it? Feud.
Yeah, Feud. Yeah, I keep DVRing it because I want to watch it.
It's good. It's the movie that Bette Davis and Joan Crawford were making together at the end of their careers, if you will, and trying to refurbish their careers and how they hated each other. It's an amazing series. And then we went back and watched the movie, and it's interesting to watch the making of all of this. And then to go back to watch the original movie, and that movie holds up pretty well in 2017.
Oh yeah, the movie's always been very legendary for this massive battle that the two had engaged in while making the movie because they just hated each other for so long.
Yeah, I believe the series. Am I correct in saying that it's called Feud?
Yeah, it's called Feud.
Yeah, yep. So you can search for that. That'd be a good one to watch over the weekend and do a little binge watching on that. But. And who plays the parts? They both.
Well, Susan Sarandon is Bette Davis, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
and isn't Joan Crawford Jessica Lange?
Jessica Lange plays Joan Crawford. Yeah, and I think it's the same guy that does that series that Jessica Lange is in. That series.
The American Horror Story.
American Horror Story. I think that person is the one that. Anyway, really an interesting series. You got to check it out.
Okay, I'm there. I'll watch at least one episode this weekend.
All right, now I'm giving you reviews. All right, Willie, enjoy the weekend. We'll talk to you again next week.
All right, talk to you then.
Again, it's wafflemovies.com, Willie Waffle. Got a break at WIBX.